Hey, happy Monday, everyone. Joshua Nagelberg, meteorologist with Carolina Weather Authority. Hope everybody had a great weekend. And before I get started with the video, I'm going to remind you, go ahead and go on the YouTube channel and click subscribe. It helps us, and we're growing our reach here. I'm excited to present these videos to you pretty much on a daily basis. And I know Mike has been doing some of them as well, and the two of us are going to be kind of tag teaming with y'all. So let's go ahead and cut to the chase here. My family in Louisiana is not underwater, so I'm pretty happy about that. They did get a Cristobal. They got a lot of wind and some surge out ahead of it, but now Cristobal is weakening inland. In our neck of the woods, that will play into the forecast for the next week or so. We are not going to be dealing with Cristobal itself, but we are going to see some strengthening ridge trough pattern, which is going to pull some cooler air our way here as we head towards the weekend and next week. So if you can wait a few more days, you will get to see some enjoyment. Still looking at a very active tropical season. Not much has changed from our thinking. The only big changes we've seen in the last week is that this cooler air is going to be a little more prevalent, at least for about a week or so. Satellite image right now, you can see Cristobal now heading up into Mississippi and Arkansas, and that will continue to move northward. Another storm system in Montana, that's going to pick this one up and draw it northward into Canada. We do have kind of a weak front and a lot of cloud cover here across the southern half of North Carolina. But if you are in the triangle and on east, you're enjoying a clear sky right now. The radar right now, you can see here is Cristobal, just a few specks on the radar in the Carolinas, and the northeast is completely dry. Our storm forecast, I'll get to Wednesday here, but today, near and south of the boundary, just a general risk for some thunderstorms. No severe weather is expected at this point. Same goes for tomorrow. Actually, looks like the boundary might get pushed a little farther west towards Charlotte. Next storm system, though, will produce active weather in the Midwest. And then towards the evening, Wednesday night, we do have a marginal risk for maybe a bit of severe weather across the western Carolinas. I think that'll be more likely Wednesday night than during the day on Wednesday. Rainfall yesterday and through the overnight hours, we do see where that front stalled and produced some heavier showers and storms. You probably see our updates on the Facebook page. Around and just east of Charlotte, we did have some heavier rainfall down to near Wilmington. Not a whole lot in South Carolina at this point other than right along the border, and the Triangle and Greensboro were dry. Here's our dew point map for noon today, and you can see that front. The dew point measures how much air you can wear. It's like how I like to say it. And the triangle, not too humid. Dew points in the 60s. We can handle that. 50s in northeastern North Carolina. But muggy as all get out here near the coast and across South Carolina and Charlotte. So our front is pretty clearly on the map stalled right about here. And that's the area where the dew point is 70 and above that I think stands the best chance for some rainfall later on today. Look at the NAM 3 kilometer. This is from pivotalweather.com. Shows maybe some light specks on the radar here through about midday, and then we'll start to see some shower and storm development as we head later into the afternoon, and especially this evening. And unfortunately, we're at the bottom of the map here in the Carolinas, but you can see some activity likely overnight tonight west of the Triangle. And sorry about this jumpiness here. But as we head into tomorrow, maybe a little bit more on the radar in the morning than today, but doesn't really survive past the Triangle. And probably no thunder with this. A little more active in the western part of the state Thursday night, or Tuesday night, and then Wednesday, we're okay during the day. I think it's in the evening when we have more activity to deal with. Rain this week on the European model. Most of this will be the second half of the week, but this area in here could have some heavy rain in the first half of the week. Temperature forecast, this is actually yesterday, but let's go ahead and go on to today and tomorrow, and you can see pretty clearly where the boundary is hung up and where it starts to retreat. It's cool east of it and it's mild to the west of it, so we should have a slightly above average week as a whole. But here's our next cool shot coming down Wednesday evening, and that is going to take its time getting here, but I think Thursday night and Friday it does cool on off, not by a whole lot, but the second wave of cooling comes over the weekend, and next week we're talking much cooler. So if you can get used to 80s and low 90s, which I think you are by now, in the lower elevations, 70s and 80s in the mountains. That will be the case this week. Next week, though, should be a lot more comfortable. NAM rainfall here. This is a high resolution model, so again, it's picking up on cells that aren't moving much and could produce heavy rain this evening. And I think our best shot is going to be just east of Charlotte and west of the Triad and just west of Wilmington. Let's look at the tropics, and here is Cristobal now weakening. Heavy rain is east and north of the center over Mississippi and southern Arkansas. That will continue to accelerate north and northeastward and be our first tropical depression ever in Illinois and Wisconsin. We'll keep an eye on this area east of Bermuda for the weekend. A low chance to develop if it's Dolly. It will be our earliest fourth storm of the year. Last year, Dorian was our fourth storm, and that was back at the end of August, if you remember. And then we had a very busy August, September, and October. That'll again be the case, I think. Here's the GFS model, and you can see our next front moves in on Wednesday. It's got a bit of a high pressure system behind it, but not enough of one to kick the front out, so the eastern Carolinas could stay active into Friday. Here's our next storm system, by the way, for Friday afternoon. And Friday night and Saturday could be pretty wet, unfortunately. Tropics aren't too busy, but we'll watch the Western Caribbean. The GFS hints at maybe some gradual development south of Cuba. And this is going to be over a week from now, 8 or 9 days. So we've got some time to watch it. But next week, we enjoy the spoils of a nice high-pressure system with a couple of weak fronts moving through. So really, our headline stories are, it's still warm, but at least not quite as humid in eastern North Carolina in the next couple of days. Front comes in slowly Wednesday night, Thursday, and kind of stalls towards the coast. And then it's wet next weekend, but maybe drying out later in the weekend. And then this time next week, we're enjoying some cooler, more comfortable air that'll save us on our AC bills. Tropics quiet down, but we may have a system east of Bermuda this week. Low chance at this point. And then next week, we'll watch the Caribbean and into the Gulf of Mexico for what potentially could be our next system. We get to enjoy cooler weather here. We'll keep you posted on that. Don't forget to subscribe to our page and CYA with CWA. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. I look forward to continuing to produce videos, and we'll chat soon. Take care.